This is how to read Jin Ping Mei Chapter 35 in the embroidery version. Simon King avenges a man's favor, and the book boy pretends to be a guest with a girl in the storybook. Simon King blames Ping with hatred, and the book boy makes makeup to persuade him to have sex with a guest one. The aftermath of the case this time is still the aftermath of the previous two incidents in Hondaoguo. It depends on how the author has arranged everything properly. The first step was to end Che Dan and others for Deputy Punisher Simon King. This matter was basically a family matter. Since family and friends interceded, he let it go. By breakfast time, all four families arrived home, and everyone cried loudly at their father, brother and family members. Every time a man has lost 100 taels of silver and has sores on his legs, he no longer dares to cause trouble. These scoundrels have eaten their fill and are asking for trouble. But this lesson is too harsh. While we despise them, we can't help but sympathize with them. Keeping oneself does not mean that you must compromise, but that there are some people you really can't afford to offend. Minor supporting characters like Che Dan have since withdrawn from the stage of The Plum and the Golden Ping. They were just writing about the Han family and Simon King after his promotion. However, we can also see the author's profound intentions. A great writer with a rift in his heart. He will not treat any of his minor characters lightly. The second time, the tongue poke ended in peace. Ping'an's tongue lashing can be divided into two parts. One is an attack on Shutong and Li Ping'er's inner chamber, and the other is an attack on Shutong and Simon King's adultery. In the former, Lion informed the book boy about Ping'an for the same reason as Ping'an. It was just because the book boy invited him to eat candies, which satisfied his appetite. So he came to repay the favor. Later, according to Pan Jinlian's request, he reported Simon King's adultery with the book boy. However, Pan Jinlian just wanted to take the opportunity to vent her jealousy and didn't care about Ping'an's life or death. Lion betrayed Ping'an, and the book boy took advantage of Simon King's opportunity to have sex with him. So Ping'an suffered cruel revenge through Bai Bangwing's visit. The author created a reason for Ping'an to be beaten. On this day, Simon King came back in the afternoon. As soon as he entered the door, he told Ping'an, who was guarding the door, that whenever anyone came, he would say he was not at home. His goal was to go to the study to hang out with the book boy. Unexpectedly, Ping'an was waiting for this and hurriedly reported Pan Jinlian. Of course, Pan Jinlian knew the seriousness of the matter. She would not go out on her own. What if she really pissed off Simon King and stole the boy? What would you do? It's not fun either. Therefore, she was smart and found a good gunman. Let Chun Mai go find Simon King. Simon King's good deeds were interrupted, so he had to follow Chun Mai to Pan Jinlian's room. Pan Jinlian would not look for trouble, even though she revealed what Simon King was doing in the room with the book boy, with the door closed in broad daylight. But she still has a real reason. There are no gifts for Uncle Wu's son's wedding, so you have to make arrangements for me. Pan Jinlian's subtext is that Uncle Wu is Wu Yunyang's brother, and he is not mine. Besides, if I give you a gift, it's all for your face. Giving trash is your face, right? Simon King was helpless and asked Li Ping'er to open a box and sponsor a set of clothes for Pan Jinlian as a gift. Pan Jinlian accepted the gift without hesitation. In her opinion, the book boy treated Li Ping'er to a duck and drank wine, which made her very jealous. Simon King and the book boy had an affair in broad daylight, which also made her very unhappy. For a victim like her, this advantage can only be regarded as a bargain. Simon King and Li Ping'er compensated her. Look how she brags about her accomplishments to Meng Yulu. He was just trying to hide himself. He first offered me a piece of red gauze as a token of worship, but I didn't want it. Then he went upstairs to look for Li Ping'er. The thief was cowardly and knew he was in the wrong, so he took the contents of his box. Here comes a set of woven gold clothes. Come and do it for me personally. I just don't want it. He panicked and said, "Sister, why are you so fussy? My sister has to choose a shirt and a skirt. Look, so I can take it to the front. Teach Brother Chen how to seal it." After half a day, I spat out. Pan Jinlian is smart, but she is jealous of the book boy. But after all, the book boy cannot give birth to a child. She is jealous of Li Ping'er, but Li Ping'er spoke for the book boy with Simon King's tacit approval. So what can she do? Stop when enough is enough and forget about it. However, As for Ping'an, he is the one at the bottom of the whole farce. Since the war has begun, someone has to shed some blood. Bai Bangwang, the evil star of this peaceful day, has arrived. What is Bai Bangwang doing here? He didn't do anything. He just wanted to make a living. Earl Ying also used to eat rice, but he was a master of eating rice. Not only did he eat rice, but he also made his master satisfied. Bai Bangwang did not have this talent, and he had no other merits except being thick-skinned. Because he is thick-skinned, no matter how much Ping'an blocks it, he cannot stop him from entering Ximon's house, because he is very thick-skinned. He insists on seeing Ximon King even after waiting for a long time. He happens to go to get a gift for Pan Jinlian, because he is very thick-skinned. Even if Ximon King's boss Jia Tixing comes to visit, he talks about receiving Kai Zhuang Yuan. This will naturally lead to the next story. These details show that the author of Jin Ping Mei is really extraordinary. Skill. He can insist on hiding aside and waiting. Because of his indescribable thick skin, he was able to wait until Jia Tixing left before sitting at the table. Even if Ximon King despised him and left him alone, he would wait until he had a meal before leaving. This is one of the 10 brothers. He came to tell Ximon King that since Ximon King became an official, no one has paid for the gathering of the 10 brothers, and they don't know how to have fun anymore. Ximon King poured cold water on this. You can just leave if you don't want to. Where do you have the time to do this? It's up to you whether you know how to do it or not. You don't need to come and tell me. This vividly proves our conclusion in the first episode. Ximon King did not brothers take it seriously, of course. Earl Ying is still the second brother Ying. The shameless Bai Bangwang finally left after having enough wine and food. Ximon King was so angry that he found a reason to fight in peace to vent his anger. I ordered you as soon as I entered the door, but someone came and I promised not to be there. Why didn't you listen? So, I crooked my fingers 50 times and hit the military stick 20 times, until the skin and flesh were torn, and my legs were bloody. Ping'an is stupid, but like Che Dan and others, his experience is also worthy of pity. Everything is due to fate. If Ping'an hadn't gone to Pan Jinlian to disrupt Ximon King's secret love, Bai Bangwang would not have seen Ximon King. And then, at least for a while, he would not be able to find a reason to be beaten. He thought he had found a powerful protector. He thought that Pan Jinlian would not betray him, but he did not expect that walls have ears. He thought that Bai Bangwang's incident caused him to be beaten, but he did not know that there is no closeness. The story of Yuan Shu and Liu Bu Liu Bei, Zhu Zhiliang and Liu Qian, the 3 kingdoms. Ximon King has just discovered the benefits of being a book boy. Who can say bad things about him at this time? Pan Jinlian heard about Ping'an's beating and immediately saw through the true nature of the matter. Ping'an was beaten because of the book boy, but she had no intention of rescuing her. She just vented her dissatisfaction with the book boy and Li Ping'er. Show it to Meng Yulu. She has gotten enough cheap anyway. And this battle is over long ago. The 3rd episode ends with Earl Ying thanking the book boy. To the book boy, he just did a small thing. But to Earl Ying, the book boy was a big help. Why do you say that? It's not because Che Dan and others have anything to do with Earl Ying, but because the most important asset for a helper like Earl Ying is interpersonal relationships. In the whole book Jin Ping Mei, most of Ximon King's contacts in the market were opened up by Earl Ying. In a sense, Earl Ying can also be called the timely reign of King County. So Earl Ying must try his best to win over the people he can win over. We can imagine that Che Dan and others are grateful to Count Ying from now on. And the book boy also has a close friendship with Count Ying. Earl Ying thanked the book boy like this because Ximon King helped Han Daoguo solve his family crisis. He bought a gift to thank his boss. Ximon King was very polite and pushed back and forth. In the end, he only accepted the goose and wine, and he did not keep it to himself. He accepted the invitation and thanked him. The 2 of them ate together, just as the book boy was pouring wine for everyone. Earl Ying started to make things difficult. You should never drink dumb wine in your whole life. I have never heard you boast about your ability to sing southern songs. Today you can sing at least. So I will drink this wine. The scholar was about to sing, but he asked, singing 10,000 songs doesn't count. You pretend to be like a dragon, like a tiger, and paint on the bottom to look like a danner. If you were a book boy, how would you feel? Think you've been insulted? If you were the master Ximon King, how would you feel? Think he bullied his servant? Absolutely not. The book boy was very happy. Dressing up in women's clothing was an opportunity for him to show off his talents. He had the idea but had no conditions. Simon King was even happier. Only Earl Ying could offer such a comfortable step and perfect flattery. You can imagine. This is the guest's request, not the host's nonsense, nor the host's mental illness. We can imagine how much Simon King is complacent about men doting on women, and when women appear in public, maybe it can make this lustful feeling a little stronger. The book boy is so beautiful, just like a woman, dressed very charmingly. She sings so well. Count Ying has prepared a series of flattering words to praise her early in the morning, and also has the ultimate weapon. Brother, we're not here to reward you. You don't like people like this by your side. You shouldn't let this kid do anything wrong and look at him differently. It's hard for Mr. Lee to give it away. He came because of his kindness. You're obviously flattering, but it's not a face reward. He even couldn't stop the car and took a photo of the distant Leasy County. This kind of repay is enough to repay the book boy's help. Of course, I can't help but ask here maliciously, has your boss ever praised you in front of the boss too? Bai Si's mistakes compared with the ignorant Bai Bengwang. Earl Ying as the real Ying Bai Chu. Last time I had anchovies, and this time I had pickled crabs. This was what the wives and concubines had eaten the day before, but 2 plates of pickled crabs were brought up. How Na Ying and Si. She fought over them and ate them all, compared with the young lady in Dream of Red Mansions who eats crabs and recites poems at the same time. Jin Ping Mei is indeed much more vulgar. However, it is vulgarity and it seems plain and simple, but it often makes people salivate and salivate. These people who are struggling for survival and life can only drink tea and gorge themselves on crabs. Perhaps this is the true essence of life. Just when Earl Ying was holding crab claws in one hand and fine wine in the other, listening to southern music and playing with the book boy, Bai Si came. After Ximon's business started, most of the clerks were introduced by Earl Ying, and Bai Si and Han Daoguo were no exception. Everyone knows Han Daoguo, but what kind of person is Bai Si? We have to go back to chapter 16. This Ben For is called Ben Dijuan. He is a young man who is arrogant and versatile. He was originally from Kinner, the prime minister. He was kicked out because he did not keep his duty. At first, he became a brother with others, and later he joined the adults. I was a family member at home, but I kidnapped someone else's breasts and became my wife. But I worked as a broker in an old clothing store. I can play the pipa and flute. Basically, most of the people who appear in Jin Ping Mei are just the same thing, not engaged in production, not keeping their duties, messing around with men and women, proficient in market gadgets, etc. This Ben was a book boy when he was 4 years old. The so-called doing things brother means a person of the same sex has his sleeves cut off. So Ying Earl's jokes said I have no but, master, you can't make it in a day. He is both a book boy and a Bai For. After Bai Si arrived at Simon's house, he became more and more effective. He didn't take the newcomer Han Daoguo seriously, and he didn't even take Count Ying seriously. So Count Ying took the opportunity to scold him. Bai Si told a joke. An official asked about the rape. He asked, "How did you rape him in the first place?" The man said, "The head is facing east, and the feet are also facing east." The official said, "Nonsense. There is a reason for lack of sexual intercourse there." A man next to him came and knelt down and said, "I'm telling you, if there is a shortage of torture chambers, wait until the young one can make up for it." Earl Ying took advantage of the loophole and said, "Good fourth brother Ben. You will be worthy of being in charge. You are a high-ranking official and you are not old. What else can you say? Why do you also marry him when you have sex with him?" Bai Si's joke was originally a pun on homophones, from the homophone of sexual intercourse to xingfang. The person who said makeup means the position of xingfang. Earl Ying deliberately reversed the word and pronounced the word exorcist room homophonically back to sexual intercourse, which means that Ben Si and Simon King, who was in charge of execution, stole a woman. This was originally a joke, and it was over as soon as it was said. Bai Si quickly explained that the villain did it unintentionally, but Earl Ying was very powerful. "What are you talking about? The sandalwood target. The knife is gone, only the scabbard is left," which means that the knife is hidden in the smile. The knife has been unsheathed, and only the scabbard is left there. Bai Si was so frightened that he felt uneasy and felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. Being advantageous without losing control of the family means that even if you get an advantage, you can't step on the boss. This is telling him that since I can make you the shopkeeper of the Simon family, I can naturally make you get off the counter. After all, Ben Si was a smart man and understood. He went to Earl Ying's house in person the next day to deliver gifts and apologize. Earl Ying waited till the end, accepted 3 taels of silver as a gift, and ended amicably. Earl Ying, who always looked rogue and flattering, never expected to have such a vicious moment. But then he surprised us again. He turned around and said to his wife, "If I don't be ruthless, my mother-in-law doesn't have us wrong. Bai Si is a piece of shit. If I support him, he will get the business and earn his own living. So I don't need to do anything. The senior officials will teach him how to manage Zhuangzi. Tomorrow I will ask him to bring money to the 5 villages. I have always made enough money. At the banquet yesterday, I made a mistake with him and made him panic. I am not afraid that he will not come to beg me today. I gave it away. I have 3 taels of silver, so I'll buy some pieces of cloth to put on the children's winter clothes." Hooking up the children's winter clothes is really a stroke of genius. Of course, we know that 3 taels of silver is not a small amount, and it will definitely buy more than 1 winter coat. In a dream of red mansions, Sister Feng gave Grandma Liu 20 taels in charity. She said she wanted to make a winter coat for her child. 20 taels is not a small amount. It is enough for the Liu family's expenses for a year. Obviously, the former is a complacent show-off, while the latter is just a step towards respectability given by Sister Feng to the old man. From here we can read the grandeur of the Jia family and the bitterness of Count Ying. This Earl Ying, who works for Simon King, is also the husband of his wife, the father of his children, and the breadwinner of the family. Although he is a bit shameless, like everyone else, he is also struggling for survival. Struggle.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.